Boost your confidence in minutes. Let's do this. I want you to go ahead and close your eyes. Take a nice slow power breath in through your nose. Breathe down to your belly and then slowly exhale. Then imagine concentrating on your shoulders. Imagine sending relaxation down into your shoulders, like a massage therapist is working on your shoulder blades, loosening those larger muscles and the tinier ones, feeling that relaxation run down, all the way down, along either side of your spine, down into your lower back. You just feel your whole body loosen, relax, release, and let go. As you take another slow power breath in, imagine that there's a door in front of your unconscious mind, and you open that door and it grants you full access to the power of your mind so that we can train your brain for success.
Oh, sorry guys. Welcome to Together We Serve. That video was so awesome. I'm so relaxed right now. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Hypnosis. Not the stuff you see in Vegas and they go, probably doing this all wrong. My guest is going to tease me, but this is not what this is about. This is about growing, serving, building a business with using your conscious mind tied to your subconscious mind to be able to unleash the capabilities that you've always wanted. This is not your daddy's hypnosis. I think that's how that phrase goes. But whatever it is, let's bring our guest on. Okay, where is he? I have a guest, I swear. There he is. I couldn't bring on Tim. Welcome Together We Serve.
Hey, thanks, Steve. It's awesome to see you again.
You as well. It really, that 2 or 3 minutes that I played was very relaxing. I had to shut it off because I seriously had my sleep. I'm old now. We sleep in the middle of the day. But let's just jump on in about hypnosis and being a hypnotist. And like I said, the circus and Vegas, and you have all these entertainment shows that do it. Tell us what you do that's different.
So mine's always been more clinical, right? So if you're having panic attacks, if you want to grow your business, but you feel like you can't get motivated, or you've done really well, but now all of a sudden you feel like you've lost your mojo, or maybe there's some issues that are going on with your health, or maybe you have some issues with your marriage, you're trying to hang on to it. These are the issues that a lot of my clients are struggling with. And so I spent 30 years trying to figure out how to unlock your brain and how to use the power of your mind to create your life by design. And my clients are high achievers, and so they expect fast results and they want an easy button. And so, I had to figure out how to make that happen. And now, after facilitating over 16,000 private sessions, I figured it out, and I'm excited to share some of my best secrets with you today.
Wait a minute. 16,000 sessions.
Yes, I had a lot more hair when I first started. And I too need those afternoon naps.
Yeah. And hypnosis, by the way, does not bring your hair back. We're not going to say any of that. Well,
Yeah.
and I accentuate that because Tim, a lot of people like podcasting and TV show, they quit pretty early. A lot of people quit their company or they don't let go out.
Yeah.
What's kept you on going 16,000 sessions? What's kept your passion going?
Well, it's interesting because I've helped people to overcome a lot of trauma over the years, right? And so somebody once asked me, they're like, how do you show up for work every day hearing the worst things that people have ever been through? And I'm like, well, that's only the first part of the story. The second part of the story is the transformation, the breakthrough, how they've overcome it, how they took their pain and they turned it into purpose, how they took their mess and they turned it into their message, how they took something that you thought was going to break you and you all it did was break you open so that the light could come in, right? And so I get to see people have extraordinary breakthroughs. They're doubling their income. They save their marriages. They lose 100 pounds. They are feeling more peaceful inside instead of constantly squeezed by the pressure of life. And so I get to see people going from breakdowns to breakthroughs, and that kind of joy I mean, that's exciting for me. I love that. It's the premise of your show, right? Being a servant leader. I love serving people and watching either individuals or teams and companies have tremendous breakthroughs that allow them to do more good in their own lives. And then that gives them the ability to do more good in the lives of those around them. And for me, what's better than that?
I'm laughing in my head. I'm going to laugh out loud because I'm thinking as you're talking, when I go to Vegas and watch a hypnotist, that's not his goal. He's not trying to help my anxiety. He's trying to make me laugh, which is great.
Yeah.
Let's do a
Yeah.
disclaimer here. I love those because
Yeah.
I've watched them, and you've never
Well,
said
and
any
that
bad.
can help get rid of anxiety for a little bit,
Yeah,
unless you're the
yeah.
one on the show, acting all goofy, and then afterwards your anxiety comes back. That's what happened to Howie Mandel, right? So Howie Mandel, someone came on America's Got Talent and hypnotized him to believe that he wasn't a germaphobe, and he did it, right? So the hypnotist made Howie believe that he could touch people and he could shake their hands and he could give them hugs, and everybody was losing their minds that Howie Mandel was doing this, right? And it was all about the hypnotist showing the power of hypnosis, but it was really about the hypnotist's ego. And because if he would have really cared about Howie, he would have realized how much that wrecked him afterwards, right? When he saw the tape and he saw him hugging himself, hugging everybody, and then how much therapy he had to go through to undo that because his brain was like, you're contaminated now, right? And how it kicked in his OCD. And so stage hypnosis can be a lot of fun, and it's kept our profession alive for sure. But the downside of it is it makes people skeptical and mistrusting, and it scares people. Hollywood loves to make it look like hypnosis is going to cause you to remember the murders that you created, or cause you to remember a life that you don't remember, and from the past, and then somehow it's going to make your life worse. When all I have found is that using hypnosis in a powerful way, it just makes your life better.
Well, I gotta say, oh, sorry about that. They're
Hey, I'm excited about it too.
oh, me too. If I could do what you do, I would be so pumped every morning I woke up because the good impact that you're making with people. Of course, I always say this: you have to be paid for that because there's value to that. But still, the end result is somebody's, you know, can cross bridges now and drive where they couldn't before. Game
Yeah,
changer. So you talked
literally.
about trauma.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurs, a lot of them listen to this. A lot of business
Yeah.
owners.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's always trauma. There's obstacles. Things happen negatively. How do you
Mhm.
help with that? Because that would be a game changer for an entrepreneur. Because we all know you're walking into something like you're an entrepreneur. You know what it's like. You're gonna have
Yeah.
great days. You're gonna have bad days. So how do we
Yes.
work that?
Yeah, great, excellent question. So it's not always what we call trauma, all right, but there are issues. Like maybe you had a dad that only gave you attention when you were winning. And so now you're 50 years old and you can't let go, even though you have six figures. You're earning six figures, but you can't stop winning because in your mind, you will be abandoned, or it means that you're not worth anything, right? It doesn't matter what our past accomplishments are. If we have these beliefs in our mind because of our early childhood experiences. And so I call this achiever syndrome. And most achievers, most high performing entrepreneurs have this. We have this feeling like we can't ever let up, that if we stop, somehow everything's going to fall apart. We have a difficult time trusting others. We feel like we have to always be involved, and often we micromanage things, which is what bottlenecks some of our growth or peace of mind. Or we're really strong and powerful in our business, and then we try to use the same strategies at home, and now we're on our second marriage and we're worried that we're going to be looking for our third, or we're having difficulty with our kids, and or you're performing well but you let your health go, and so now you're struggling with smoking or cocaine, or you're getting high all the time, or you are on prescription medicine to sleep, or you have put on 75 pounds. So entrepreneurs and high performing business owners and CEOs and executives, we're just people, right? Take away all the accolades. And a lot of times the more successful you are, the smaller your inner circle is. And sometimes you just don't have somewhere where you can, as one of my clients said, I don't have anywhere to dump my poison except with you. And they don't have people that they can really trust. And so, that is something that if you're a human, you're always looking to grow, to adapt, not all of my clients are struggling. I would say 10% of them are doing incredibly well. They're just looking for the next way to, to elevate, to optimize, to grow to the next level. And they find me because I'm unlocking the power of your unconscious mind. And most people aren't talking about, they're talking about mindset. And this isn't mindset. This goes deeper than that. It's what drives your mindset. So yeah, we can all benefit no matter where you're at, no matter what you're doing, and no matter where you've been through, what you've been through. There's always another level for you that can create more joy.
When you talk about those 10%, it reminds me of athletes. Patrick Mahomes, we'll just use him. It's the NFL season. He's got probably 10, 15 coaches and probably has a mindset, maybe even has a hypnotist. I know some athletes have done that to
Sure.
increase their peak performance. I love that you said that. This is not everybody struggling. This is
No.
people that just want to go to the next level to
Yes.
where they're at, right?
Yeah. Yeah. There's, we could start dropping names one after another of famous celebrities and famous athletes who are using hypnosis and other peak performance skills, or even life coaches to help them get the edge. I mean, I got a call from a coach for the Olympic wrestling team one time because he said, these people are already the best in the world. If you could get an extra 0.5% out of them, that would be a pretty big deal. Right. Or I'm working with Navy SEALs, who are, or Rangers, people who are the best at what they do. And yet they come home and they can't turn it off. Right. Or they don't know how to, they can go in and disrupt a group of men, but they can't get along for 5 seconds with their girlfriend.
Yeah.
And so, we all have our issues, and you want someone who can help you to resolve it. You don't want to spend years talking about your problems. You want some solutions, and you want some relief as fast as possible. And that's what I specialize in.
And that's a cool subject you just said. I think 100% of people want results, want benefits, but it's taking the action. They don't, I agree with you. I think everybody, they got a problem, they want to solve it, but they don't want to take action for whatever reason, or they don't know where to go. When I don't know, I don't know. It's
Yeah,
crazy. So, Tim, I have a bank of lawyers for my TV show. Let's
yeah.
drop names. My lawyers will take care of them. I'm kidding. I don't know a bank of lawyers. You have any names? I don't want to get anybody in trouble, but anybody that's used hypnosis that people recognize.
Oh
Right?
yeah. I mean, you have like Kevin Costner when he was making that movie Waterworld. He was in the water all the time, and it was really making him crazy being in the water that much of the time. And he had a full-time hypnotist on set with him the entire movie to help him
Hmm.
stay in the right mindset. Or Sylvester Stallone, talked about using a lawyer. Uh, what is it? Dana White, the
You,
stand-up
you didn't mean
comedian.
lawyer. You meant he's using a hypnotist. You said lawyer.
Because
See, I programmed that.
right, yeah, he's
That's
using.
okay.
He's not Dana White. It's the guy that's always drinking the alcohol. He's always got the scotch on stage. I think Dana White runs the UFC. This was the comedian. I forget his name, but he's been a raging alcoholic for like 40 years. And
Really?
he went to a hypnotist, and he hasn't drank since. I think he was on Joe Rogan or something. He was talking about how he
Yeah.
didn't believe that it even worked, right? And so a lot of these people are used. Like Tony Robbins is like the most famous peak performance coach, and he's using hypnosis and NLP techniques, and he's got for everybody from Sir Anthony Hopkins to Oprah Winfrey, right? He's got all these top athletes. Is it Sabrina Williams,
Yep.
right?
That's
So
right.
they're all using his techniques, and it's all hypnosis and NLP. So this is just understanding how we create our reality, and the most successful people in the world that have the funds to do whatever they want, this is what they're choosing because it's so effective.
Yeah. Well, you're stirring something in the audience because questions are flying in. Oh my God. So here's the first one I thought was very interesting. How do you stop self-sabotage?
Yes. So the fast answer is self-sabotage is the fear that I'm not good enough. And because I'm not enough, I won't be loved. So we're constantly trying to figure out how to get love, but the way that we do it causes us to, it backfires, right? So we want someone to love us, so we get really controlling and then they get away from us because they can't handle how controlling we are or how jealous that we get. That's a form of self-sabotage, right? Or let's say that we want to lose weight, but the way that we feel love and comforted is by eating, because we grew up with grandma who was constantly feeding us, showing us love. And now, we're an adult and we can't stop eating because we want that love. And so we keep sabotaging our diets, because even though we want to be thin, we want to feel loved more, right? So these are ways that we sabotage ourselves. So if you go and you find the deepest core belief and you upgrade it, that limiting belief that I'm not good enough, or I'll be abandoned, or you can't trust people, or I'm going to be rejected, it almost always comes down to this fear that I'm not good enough. When you upgrade those beliefs, then all of a sudden you recognize that I am more than enough. I deserve whatever I want to have, that I am capable of accomplishing this if I just believe in myself enough. And when you upgrade your beliefs, it upgrades how you look at the situation, and then it upgrades how you feel about yourself and the situation, which then improves the kind of actions that you take. And then instead of sabotaging yourself, you start setting yourself up setting yourself up to succeed, right? It's a matter of playing to win instead of playing not to lose. And when we sabotage ourselves, it's because we're playing not to lose.
I'm really speechless right now. That is just amazing what you just said. That's a game changer. So that leads to the question I want to ask, and I think I asked on my podcast, but I've had other people ask me after you've been on my show and seen it. It's hocus pocus. It's a charade. It's charade. It's magic. It's playing with the universe or whatever. There's many things I've heard.
Yeah.
How do you respond to that?
Yeah, it's brain science is what it is. It's neuroscience. It's understanding how your mind works and then using it to your advantage. So, for example, hypnotists would use a watch, and they would cause that watch to swing back and forth as an induction technique, as a way of helping you get relaxed so you close your eyes, right? Why do they do that? Because when you read a book and your eyes are going across the page, a lot of times it makes us feel more relaxed and sleepy, which is why whenever I read a book, I all of a sudden feel like I want to close my eyes and take a nap. So if you recognize that that's a natural phenomenon, that just getting your eyes to go back and forth causes a feeling of relaxation inside of your mind, and that happens because you're activating the left side and the right side of your brain, you're stimulating the corpus callosum, the part of your brain that connects the two hemispheres, right? So you're just activating that part of you, and it creates a feeling of calm. It stimulates your relaxation response, right? So this is all brain science. So what we do as hypnotists is we recognize that's a pattern and we just use it on purpose. Okay. So it's not about hocus pocus where I'm going to swing a watch and you're going to go into trance. There's a reason why we would do something like that, because it initiates a certain response, like a relaxation response, which is the first part of a hypnotic trance. Now, with hypnosis, this is nothing magical. Your brain waves go in and out, or up and down, more to that's more accurate. Your brain waves go up and down. We go into alpha, we go into beta, we go into theta and delta. These are all natural brainwave sleeps, right? Or sleep states, right? Brainwave states. And so, like, we're in alpha right now, and we'll go up into beta if we start to get real excited or real intense, or you hit one of those buttons and we hear someone cheering or laughing, right? Because we're in state right now. We're alert. We're paying attention. But tonight, you're going to go into more of a theta state where you start dreaming. And then you're going to go deeper into delta state where you're sleeping, right? And in those states, we're very open to suggestion. And so hypnotists recognize that if you wanted someone to be more suggestible, then you just guide them into those natural states. And so hypnosis isn't anything magical. It's just understanding where the person's at and what to do to induce relaxation, what to do to induce more suggestibility. The greatest hypnotist on the planet is your television set and now your smartphone. And commercials and ads are simply hypnotic suggestions that are designed to get you to emotionally take some kind of action, like click this button, right? Or call this number. And so we all are influenced by our phones, by our television sets. It's not magic. It's just understanding how human behavior is. And hypnotherapy is understanding how to use hypnosis to help people create healing and breakthroughs. Hypnosis, when it's done for stage hypnosis or entertainment purposes. It's done to get people to lower their inhibitions so that they can just be goofy and silly. And the more silly they are, the more the audience loves it. And then they clap, and because they're laughing and they're clapping, which is positive reinforcement, which causes people to act sillier. And then afterwards, they can just blame it on the hypnosis, right? So there is so much going on with how you're influencing human behavior that as a hypnotist is fascinating, that you can meet a total stranger within a couple of minutes, getting them doing the silliest things, and then getting them, feeling like proud of themselves afterwards. Right? If you're a good hypnotist, you make your audience, your participants feel proud of themselves for being a great performer. And you can get, like, I had someone who had horrible stage fright, and within a couple of minutes, she was shuffling around the stage acting like she was Ozzy Osbourne, right? And the whole place was just, people were crying with laughter because she was so funny. And this was someone who had horrible stage fright. Normally, she would have never been able to do that. But we got rid of her fears of judgment, of how others were going to view her, and she didn't care. And she got to shine and be the star, right? So that's how powerful your mind is. So it's not hocus pocus. It's really brain science and human behavior and understanding how to use the tools and resources you already have to your advantage.
Well, I was reading this afternoon, and I fell asleep. And I do a lot. I thought I had a problem, but now I know why I'm doing. Yes. So it's not a problem. It's just I'm starting to relax as I'm reading. My mind's taking in the information, trying to process. Wow.
Yeah.
See, I love doing these shows because I just learned something. I'm going to go read after this because I'm always like, I shouldn't read. I'm going to fall asleep. That's a good thing. We should be more relaxed.
Yeah, it can help you relax. That's right.
Yeah. So all those shows that I see that, the people do goofy things or, bark like a dog, that's real. People, that's not staged. It's real.
It is real. It is real because, first of all, remember, you are asking for volunteers.
Right.
People are coming up with the expectation that they're going to act silly. They know it. Their friends are getting them up there. They've seen a show before. So they know what they're supposed to do. And then when you get a group up there, then you start doing suggestibility tests because you're seeing who's going to get relaxed the fastest, who's going to cooperate the most. And the ones that aren't cooperating, they can still be hypnotized, but we are looking for the people that go into it quickly. We're looking for the creatives. We're looking for the people that are naturally funny, and we send everybody else back into the audience.
This is so fascinating to me, Tim. You're just blowing me away.
So we get volunteers, then we do suggestibility tests to see who's going to be the best, and then out of that group, then we start looking for the stars and the supporting cast. So we start doing little things like you're feeling hot, and then you're feeling itchy, right? And we're watching for people that are really funny that the audience is just cracking up, and then we're looking for people who could be supporting cast, and then you start doing it a little bit. The suggestions are more complicated, right? Like someone just farted. And you're smelling the smell, and it's the person next to you, and they're going, ew. Now you realize it's you. Oh my gosh. Now you're proud of it. Yeah. Right. And so you're doing these little skits
So beautiful
that are making people laugh. And, but it's totally real because people are just being silly. People are just being themselves when we're not so uptight and so stressed out and worrying about how everybody's judging us. Because really, no one's really sitting there judging you. They're worried about how you're judging them.
magic. Oh my God. I mean, I know it's not, but that's very fascinating to me because I always wondered this. Now I know after 30 years of watching, because I love watching them and it's funny. It's great entertainment. So we understand hypnotizing people and that. Let's get into the business aspect because that's your big thing. And so you've done hypnotism. Sounds like you've done that stage entertainment.
Yes. Yeah, we go in phases, and so when I was younger, I wanted to learn everything I could about the different ways of using hypnosis and doing inductions and the traditional approach. And then as I got older, I realized you don't even need that stuff anymore. And then I did a lot of shows because one, I wanted to see if it was real too. I remember my very first time, Steve, I was sitting there and I'm in a crowd and I give a suggestion and I'm just sitting there going, what if this doesn't work? What if they just sit there? Right. And I was so scared. My heart was pounding out of my chest. And then all of a sudden they started doing it. they started doing the old, loosening the collar. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I was as excited as the audience. I'm like, I can't believe they're doing this. And then just kept going. And it was really, really funny. So yeah, I did the stage hypnosis, and then I just did everything that you do when you're, so I did a lot of past life regressions during Halloween, this time of year. We're doing a lot of, until I realized that the people need to be working on is the one we're in, right?
Yeah.
Regardless of if people have other experiences, and people had all kinds of wild stories and experiences that they had. I didn't really see it change their life much. But when you worked on what was going on in this life, I saw people have tremendous breakthroughs and healings that have occurred, or tremendous goal attainment, right? So, like I said, with people being able to significantly improve their health, wealth, relationships, and peace of mind. And so, and I've seen whole companies transform, going from having like a score on a standardized test of, how well do you trust your leader? 46%. You take them through a program, and how well do you trust your leader? 96%, right? Almost doubling it. A company who felt like they were a group of mercenaries because it was 100% sales commission organization, becoming a best place to work list on the list, right? So a total transformation. So you can do it with individuals, you can do it with families, marriages, and you can do it with whole teams and organizations. And so I did the stage hypnosis because it was fun and entertaining. But then I realized that I personally felt more fulfilled freeing people from 30 years of panic attacks or eating disorders or, bad habits, and or watching them achieve extraordinary success when they thought it was impossible, and then they did it. And that is something that just blows my mind, even after all these years.
It's what I love about you, Tim. It's the servant's heart. You weren't making
Yeah.
you're making enough of an impact as an entertainer. You wanted to make a bigger impact. And
Yeah.
audience, if you want to work with anybody, I don't like promoting, but I'm promoting. That's the kind of person you want to work with, because the money's the backside of it. The impact is the first thing, the
Yeah.
change.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
from there, before we go to halftime and give you a break here,
Mhm.
what's one thing you tell people are going, God, maybe I should do this? What would take them over the top to be able to reach out to you?
I had a plaque over my desk for 20 years from Wayne Gretzky. It was a quote, and he said, "You miss 100% of the shots you never take." And I've lived by that. And I've been in business, in practice now for 30 years because I'm always taking the shot. If I miss, I'm just where I'm at right now. But what if I hit, right? What if I make it? And I always take the playing to win attitude that I'm going to get something from this. I'm going to make it work. I'm not sitting there saying, I hope it works for me. I'm going to make it work for me. And I just need the right tools and support. And so when people have that attitude, they win, right? They are always having a life-changing experience. I've had several sessions today with high achievers, and we finished up a round of sessions with one of them, and she was like, I knew I was going to get something from this, but I am just blown away by how fast, how big the results are. And I love hearing that. I mean, that's what lights me up. So if you are considering doing something like this, take the shot. You'll be glad you did.
And it sounds like this works 100% of the time if the client does what they're supposed to do. Correct?
Yeah. Every once in a while, not able to produce the kind of results that we want. That's
Okay.
either because people don't show up, or maybe there's a brain wiring issue, like someone who has really extreme OCD, and they're just really struggling. But even in those cases, we're still getting some results. Most people were getting mind-blowing results, and it's consistent. I have so many testimonials and case studies, and you always got to put, results not typical. But mine are. Results are the best, and it's not because of me. It's just because I've understood how to unlock the potential inside of you. You're the magic. Your brain, Steve. You're the magic. And so I'm just showing you
Well,
how to unlock that magic. It really has nothing to do with me, right? If I'm giving anybody the credit, I'm giving God the credit, and then I'm asking him to work through us so that he can release his Holy Spirit through us and allow us to expand our territories and live our best life possible. So it's not really about me. It's just about the tools and the strategies that unlock, as my friend Les Brown would say, you have greatness inside of you, and it unlocks that greatness. And that's what it's all about for both of us.
And I really appreciate you, Tim, being honest and saying it's not for, I mean, it doesn't work for everybody, but they get some results, but doesn't get like the testimony of these massive results, even if you're helping. Because I appreciate, because nothing's 100% except for taxes and death, as the old phrase goes. It's true. Well, let's take a break. We're going to come back, and I'm excited because we're going to talk about his book, but he's also in a movie that's on Apple and Amazon that I'm probably going to watch tonight because I was reminded seeing you today. I got to watch it. I kept looking up One Limits. I couldn't find it. I realized I was looking up the wrong movie. So now I know where to find the movie. Zero Limits is the movie. Write that down. But we'll come back in about 5 minutes and talk more with this incredible man, Tim Shurr. We'll see you all in a minute.
For total confidence, so that you show up in any situation knowing that you are worthy of success, that you can accomplish anything that you put your mind to, and that you deserve it, that you are someone who has the ability to be able to create whatever it is that you desire. And if you're not sure how to do it, well, then you're just learning like everybody else. There is no failure, there's just feedback. And the more feedback you get, the more you learn and grow. You are a wisdom collector. And today, you're collecting new tools and strategies that are going to help you build certainty in your ability to handle whatever shows up. It doesn't matter what shows up. What matters is how you show up. It doesn't matter what's going to happen to you. You focus on what you're going to bring to the situation. Now take another slow power breath in. Fill those lungs all the way. And then slowly exhale. As you imagine in your mind, imagine yourself in a situation where you want to feel more confident. As you imagine yourself in this situation, imagine that maybe you're not feeling confident right now. Whether you picture this in your mind, or you kind of talk yourself through it, or you just feel your way through it, or you just listen to me describe it to you, all of it works. So I want you to imagine yourself in a situation where you want to feel confident. As you imagine yourself in this situation, maybe you're not feeling confident. Maybe you're feeling the opposite. And so I want you to imagine that you can kind of zoom out and watch yourself in that situation. Imagine zooming out and just watching yourself in that situation. And as you do this, imagine that you kind of look at yourself and you're slumped over. Your shoulders are kind of slumped forward. You're breathing very short and shallow, very upper chest. Maybe you're even holding your breath because you're worried or stressed. Because you're holding your body in that way, it makes you feel tight. Maybe your heart speeds up, or your hands feel sweaty, or you just feel kind of nervous. And then because you're holding your body in that way, kind of like a deflated balloon, you notice that you're looking down at the ground. When you're looking down at the ground, it causes us to talk to ourselves more. And when we're talking to ourselves more, you imagine that what you're saying is not very nice or supportive. We're focusing on what we don't want, what we're afraid of, why life is unfair, why does this keep happening to me? We're asking lousy questions like, what if this goes wrong, and what if I fail, and what if I get rejected, and what if strangers make fun of me, and what if it doesn't work out, and what's wrong with me? All these lousy questions. And then, of course, we misuse our imagination by focusing on what we don't want. That's like telling a GPS to take you somewhere you don't want to go. We've got to tell our mind what we do want and where we do want to go so our mind can take us there. So you imagine that your body's slumped over, you're telling yourself a lousy story, you're asking lousy questions, and you're imagining what you don't want. And of course, that makes us not confident. So then we're going to do the opposite. I want you to take another power breath in through your nose. And then as you exhale, just imagine we create a mindset reset. Bam! We have this new energy that now kicks in. Suddenly, I want you to imagine yourself in that same situation, but now you're standing with confidence. Imagine that you're a superhero, or you just won a gold medal. You're standing tall. Maybe you've got your hands on your hips.
Well, guess what? I want to win a gold medal. Yeah, don't you? I want to win a gold medal in business. If you're watching live, not the recording, if you're watching live, as I have, ask a question in the chat box, and we'll get those asked to Tim. With that being said, let's bring Tim back. There's
Hey,
Tim. Welcome back. You know
thank you.
what? I love that video. I'm going to save that. And audience, by the way, subscribe to his YouTube channel. I did. And you're going to get great stuff about the mind. And I love YouTube channels because not only does it help you, I can share it with others, which I've done with you already. Some of the stuff that you've told me is we just get to serve other people and impact them. Let's jump into the book because, I mean, I thought you were good. You're now awesome. There's his book. We're going to bring him over here so you can see Tim. So it's called One Belief Away. Tell us a story about this.
So I created this book during the pandemic, and I had spent a lot of time building up a speaking career, and I had my calendar full of speaking events. And in January, and then all of a sudden in 2020 in March, they all disappeared because nobody wanted to. We weren't allowed to leave the house, and so I'm like, what am I going to do with this time now that I have? And I had been creating all these breakthroughs for people for so long, and I figured I want to share it with everybody. And so, the title One Belief Away is because you're just one belief away from a huge breakthrough, right? And so if you go from I can't to I can, or I'm not enough to I'm more than enough, or if you have a blind spot, and you don't recognize it, and then all of a sudden you do, and now you can fix it, that it gives you tremendous power. And so I was writing this book, but I realized that there was some chapters towards the end of the book that, I still had questions about myself, right? And instead of just kind of making stuff up or faking it to add to the book, I called up my friend Joe Vitale, who is like a world-renowned expert in the law of attraction and in marketing and Ho'oponopono, and kind of he was a big proponent in the movie The Secret, right? And so he was one of the co-stars there, and people really loved how he contributed. And so I said, Joe, can I interview you and ask you all my toughest questions? Because he's about 20 years older than me and farther down the path. And he said yes. And so I put those answers that he gave me, which were incredibly valuable, into this book as well. So it's a really powerful way of helping you to have a playing to win attitude. If you feel like you're struggling a little bit with scarcity mindset, if you feel like even when you're winning, you still feel like you're losing somehow. I know a lot of people, and I used to be this way too. I would have more money than ever, and I was just convinced that I was somehow going to lose it all, right? And so when we've got those limiting beliefs, this book is a solution and an answer to that. And so I appreciate you asking me about it.
Oh, my play. I'm going to pull it back up again. Where can they get the book?
Amazon or for my website, but Amazon will get it to you faster.
Yeah. Amazon's the monster now. And of course, everybody does it,
Yes,
which is fine. If they can get the book in your hands faster, they're going to be impacted faster.
that's right.
When you wrote the book, what was the hardest thing to do?
Stop editing.
Oh,
Because eventually you want to write more or you add more, and a lot of times you got to get it all out, and then you got to try to take as much out of it as you can, so there's just the point left, right? And making sure that there was a good flow to it. And then of course you've got to make sure that it is that it has a good hook, right? That it grabs attention. Like the name of that book originally was going to be called From Surviving to Thriving, right? Which is so cliche. And a friend of mine heard that and he said, that's got to be one of the top 5 worst titles ever. And I'm like, oh, okay. And so I was kicking around the idea of, maybe just one belief away. And I thought, okay, because Russell Brunson had his tagline, one funnel away, right? You're just one funnel away. And I had been to several of his events, and I'm like, well, you're just one belief away. And then so I started sharing that with some friends, and Joe loved it. Vitali, he's like, oh, I love that. He says, you should make a whole brand out of that, which is what I ended up doing. So, yeah.
Well, it's powerful because it's simple. Instead of saying multiple beliefs, you'll get your success, or a bunch of beliefs, you'll get your one belief. People can do
Yeah.
that in this world
Yeah.
nowadays. Social media, new everything's fast. It
Yeah.
comes on social media, it's gone in an hour
Yeah.
or less. I love that. And
Yeah.
how do you get the people to believe? Is it the hypnosis, or is there other parts of your work that you do to get them? Because belief's hard for some people, maybe a lot of people.
What I do is I create new emotional experiences, and then their brain creates the new belief for them. And because it's coming from them, they're able to accept it quickly. Because the beliefs that you have now, where did they come from? They came from repetition, and they came from going through emotional experiences, and then your brain tried to make sense of it. So your brain says, well, this means that, right? So dad left when I was a kid, which means that I wasn't good enough to stay around. Or my parents are always fighting, which means that they must have been fighting because of me. I shouldn't have even been born. Or, I've been through somebody getting sick, and it was very scary. And now all of a sudden I have anxiety because you could lose your loved ones at any
Yeah.
moment.
Mhm.
And so we get these beliefs. Now, they're not all negative. Some of them are very positive and empowering, right? And so, but usually the ones I'm dealing with aren't. And so um, your whole belief system came from going through experiences, and then your mind tried to make sense of what it means. So what I do is I take people through new emotional experiences that lead to more empowering beliefs, because you didn't get to pick your beliefs. They were just kind of absorbed in you when you were a kid. What if you could go back and choose the beliefs that you want to be your operating system? And so our smartphones get updates all the time. So, but most of us, our human software has never been updated, right? We're walking around with the same MS-DOS program that we were born with. And so this is just like optimizing your human software, your human operating system, with beliefs that you want to have running in the background of your life. And when you do that, your brain will come up with them for you if you position it the right way. If you take people through the right emotional experiences, your brain will do the heavy lifting for you. And that means no trying to talk yourself into it, no affirmations, no vision boards, no walking around telling yourself 1,000 times, trying to believe something that you don't really believe anyway. You just believe it, feel it, and know it. And that's the difference between training your brain versus willpower and trying to use logic and reasoning, which is what therapy really is.
You under 40s listening to this, MS-DOS is Windows 11 back in 1991. Just want to clear that up. And people are like, hey, what the hell? What is Tim talking about? Only me and you, and anybody over 50 knows what MS-DOS is. So great
Where's your
call
laugh
on
track?
that.
I'm pushing the button.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
pushing the
Where is
button.
that
There should
laugh
be a
track? We
laugh
got to
track for
bring it
that.
on.
That's
Yes.
hilarious.
That was actually a good one. Yes. We get this. So I hear that love that somebody just put in here. Um, where'd it go? Oh boy, boy, boy. Oh, here it is. Can trauma resolve quickly, and how? Like how
Yes.
quickly? So and somebody else asked, how long does this take? One session, 10 sessions? How's that work?
Yeah. It takes about 25 minutes. So when you go through a traumatic experience, it's the belief that that is what's keeping the pain alive. So imagine you get bit by a rattlesnake, and it hurts. The bite hurts for sure. But the bite isn't what paralyzes us. It's the poison, it's the venom that's left inside. That's what ends up, destroying us a lot of times as we get older. Our goal is to get the poison out, but people don't know how to get the poison out. They're focused on the bite, right? And you can't go change the bite, but you can get rid of the poison. And you can do it by upgrading the beliefs. So if you have a belief that I'm a victim, or that I'm broken, or that there's something wrong with me, or that now I hate people, right? Or you don't trust anybody, that's the poison. And what we got to do is get the poison out. Or maybe it's as subtle as, I'm a people pleaser, and I'm constantly having to achieve, or I'm constantly having to make sure everybody's okay, or I can never say no because I don't want anybody to get mad at me. Those all come from beliefs. Those are poisonous beliefs. And we've got to get the poison out. And so when you take somebody through a situation where they go back to the moment where that limiting belief was formed, and then we just upgrade the belief. You're not going to change the situation, and you don't have to, but you can upgrade the beliefs, and it turns you from a victim to a victor, right? It shifts how you're feeling about it. Yes, it was a situation that happened, but that's just an experience. You're the experiencer. You're more powerful than any experiences you ever have. Just like you're not your thoughts, you're the thinker of your thoughts. So you're more powerful than any thoughts you ever have. And so when you discover that you can upgrade your thoughts and you can upgrade the beliefs that are driving those thoughts, it can release you from the past and give you a more empowering present and future. And that can happen quickly. Instead of taking a year to try to figure out what the belief is and how it happened and all that stuff, we can go to it in the very first session, upgrade the belief. Now, does that mean it changes your whole life? Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes it does, right? You have panic attacks for 20 years, and then all of a sudden you don't have panic attacks anymore because we freed you from that fear. But usually that's just step one. In session 1, we upgrade the beliefs. In session 2, we upgrade the feelings. In session 3, we're giving you new strategies, so you show up as what I call you 2.0. In session 4, we're developing resiliency and protecting you from relapse. So you're able to take any situation and pivot and turn a frustration into an opportunity. And so I'm taking you through a proven path that I've taken thousands of people through. And we do it either privately with coaching, or to keep the cost down, we put it into our Awakening program. And you just go through the program, or the exercises are in the book, right? And you can get that ebook for like $9.99. So so the strategies are in there, and nobody needs to suffer. My whole goal is to end needless emotional suffering and to show people how to use the power that's already inside of you. And when that happens, anybody can do this.
I'm going to repeat this again. I just wrote it down in my notes. Don't be a victim, be a victor. Powerful, powerful message. Simple, but it's true. There's no reason to be a victim. So we're running out of time here, but I got to get this TV show. And we have an actor on my show, which I don't have many actors on my show. Talk about Zero Limits with Joe Vitale and what it's all about.
Yeah, so what they did was they took Joe Vitale's book called Zero Limits. It was a bestseller. And they turned it into a movie. And they basically talked about, they asked the question, do we really have zero limits, right? And does that mean that you can do anything you want? And that's not what the show is about. The movie is really about no longer putting so many limits on yourself, because we are constantly holding ourselves back. One of the first questions was, how do you get rid of self-sabotage or imposter syndrome, right? And it's these limits, these limiting beliefs that we put on ourselves. And Joe said that the goal is to get to free yourself from those limitations. In the movie, they use Ho'oponopono, which is an affirmations technique that they learned from a Hawaiian healer, and that's one way of using it. Upgrading your beliefs is another way. So he had quite a few people come in that were coaches and healers sharing their method and how they use it. And but the point was that my takeaway is that God has zero limits and he created you, right? We're a reflection of the perfection. And so we got to quit putting these limits on ourselves. We have power inside of us. It's how we were created. We were born to be creators, and we can use the power of our mind to create our life by design. We just need the right tools and support. And that movie gives you lots of inspiration and lots of ideas for how to step into that zero limits attitude in your life.
It's so powerful. And give me some minute of Paula's story that you talk about in the movie.
Yes. So I came in there and I'm like, this is what zero limits looks like, right? So Paula was someone that I met, and we were talking. And when I met her, she was 49 years old and she was struggling. She had breast cancer, a double mastectomy. She was overeating. She was drinking too much, even though she knew better because she was in fitness. She was a coach, right? She knew better, but life had just beaten her up too much. and she just stopped believing in herself. So when we started hanging out and talking, I helped her believe in her. I said, Paula, I believe in you more than my belief in you is stronger than your doubt in yourself. And she said something shifted inside of her and she started believing in herself. So then we set audacious goals. We make bold moves. And so she decided that she was going to pour her energy into being a natural bodybuilder at the age of 49. And her first competition at age 50, she lost like 50 pounds. She got third place. And it was like really wild. And then she got so excited that she placed, she went all in. And a few months later, she got her first place trophy. And then she kept going. Now, that was 10 years ago. I just talked to Paula. Paula is now 60 years old, and she's still getting first place trophies in natural bodybuilding. When you see the before and after pictures, it is mind blowing. And you'll see them in the movie.
I've got chills right now listening to you talk what you did for her. And she's going to be on my podcast. Thank you for the introduction. And yeah, just the emails. Well, I haven't met her in person. It's just powerful.
She's awesome. She's so motivating.
Absolutely. Let's throw the website up. This is how you can connect with Tim. Real quick, a fun little thing for you. So I've got a Learjet reserved for you. I love you that much. I'm going to be the co-pilot, so I'll be on the plane, but you got 3 empty chairs because you're going to sit in one of the chairs. Who would you invite to fly with you, dead or alive, and where would you fly to? What's your destination?
Oh, my goodness. Well, if I was on a Learjet and I would get to go with somebody, I would take my wife and 2 sons. So I would take my family with me because I love them, and that's who I love spending my time with. If I couldn't take my family, then I suppose I would take Jesus. I would take Jim Carrey, and I would take who's the guy that painted the Sistine Chapel?
Michelangelo?
No, yeah, no, that was the sculptor, right? So,
yeah,
Leonardo da Vinci.
Leonardo, that's who it was. Yeah, you can tell I didn't pass that class.
He's a super creative genius, right? And just seemed like he came up with so many ideas and out of the box thinking. And I like hanging out with people like that because I came from a small town, so I felt like it made me small minded. So I had to start hanging out with big thinkers, and then it allowed me to do big things, right? Like be on your show. Because a kid from a cornfield, I never had the confidence. I would have never been able to do something like this. And so, and which would have been sad because this is awesome and you're amazing. So I think that he's great. Jim Carrey always cracks me up. He's always going for it, so he would just be fun to hang out with because we could go back and forth. And then, of course, Jesus.
Well, I got to tell you, can you imagine, let's imagine Jim and Jesus talking. What a conversation that would be. Oh
I think they've had some conversations. When you see what Jim has gone through with his really hating Hollywood, wanting to be a part of Hollywood, then really hating Hollywood, and now coming to a place now where he's just found inner peace. I think he's had many conversations.
Yes. And I just saw Dumb and Dumber, so you brought back that memory. Great movie, funny movie. So is Dumb and Dumber too. Thank you again, Tim. Thank you for the kind words. And I'll leave you with this, audience. You hear what he said? He hung out with smarter, more successful people to be successful. And be hosting shows like this, my podcast, my TV show, I get to do that. And that's a great tip to end with because together we serve. All those people that mentored you put you where you are today, being so successful and awesome. So with that being said, audience, we'll see all of you next Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific or 5 p.m. Eastern. And together we serve e360tv.com. And God bless you all. Have a great rest of the weekend. And we'll see you next week. Take care, everybody.